Hi, I'm Leanne Ely. I'm a nutritionist, a New York Times best-selling author, and some people even say I'm a life coach. I started the Daily Dish Show to share my story, my truth, and my journey to vibrancy, and to inspire others to do the same. Because it's all about grit, perseverance, and finding a way despite the odds. It's about embracing the whole woman, not just the parts that are easy to love, and feeding her heart, mind, body, and soul. But I found that this isn't just my story, it's your story too. It's go time. This is the Daily Dish. And today we're going to really hit a strong topic. It's a stronghold on a lot of people's lives and hearts. And that's the word perfect. You knew I was going to go there, didn't you? It's the word perfect. Let's go with what the dictionary says first and foremost. Let's do that. There's our girl Flynn and Patsy right in the door. Boom. I'm glad you're here. So here's what the dictionary says. It's having all the desired or required elements, qualities, or characteristics, or definition number 2, absolute or complete. And we have to look at the definition too as we follow our logic and the train of thought. We have to also look at the word perfectionism, don't we? If we're going to go there, I think this is an important thing. This is the definition of perfectionism, and put your seatbelts on, okay? This is going to get you. The refusal to accept any standard short of perfect. Anyone? Pinkies up if you've done this. Me too. And it just kind of took my breath away when I read that definition, because I thought, how many times have I done that? How many times have I done that to my children? How many times have I done that in my business? How many times have I done that to myself? Scary, isn't it? Beth, exactly. Here comes the pinkies. You know why, right? You know why? Because we've all done this, haven't we? We've all done this knowingly and unknowingly. For some of us, it's just a behavioral characteristic. It's part and parcel of who we are and who we've become. And you know what? It's not a happy thing. It's not a happy thing. As a matter of fact, psychologists tell us that perfectionism leads us to the place of anxiety and depression. Anxiety and depression. I don't know about you, but I don't need that in my life. I don't. And I certainly don't need perfectionism in my life, because one thing that I've learned about perfectionism is that it leaves you with a strong sense of dissatisfaction. And it leads you to a place where you feel like you can never get ahead. You can never have things your way. It doesn't work. That's the thing about perfectionism. So we're going to go there and we're going to talk about that, because, boy, the refusal to accept anything that's less than perfect, who do we think we are? I think it's time to get off our high horses. And I don't think that most people walk around in their perfectionism arrogantly saying, well, God and I've got this for you, kind of a thing. It's not like that. But in our perfectionism and in our banting around this word perfect all the time, we leave ourselves paralyzed with fear, and we leave ourselves in the place of not getting a whole lot done. We're going to talk about that, because I think that the perfectionism can be almost disease-like. I'm not one of these who banties around the word disease and attaching it to all different kinds of things. I simply don't see that as a total truth. It's just my whole thing. But I do believe we have to take a look at it. And I do believe it is a little bit of peeking under the hood and seeing what's under there, because for a lot of us, it's really affected and clouded our vision of what could be a vibrant life. So let's unpack it, okay? So when we choose perfect, very often we're going for an ideal that is what we are beyond what we're humanly able to accomplish. I mean, that makes sense, doesn't it? And in this lifetime, we're never going to be able to manage that. I don't know if we recognize that or realize that in the midst of doing it, but we know perfect doesn't exist on this side of glory. It just simply does not. It's a myth, and it's a nutty myth, and it's perpetuated by marketing experts. It's perpetuated from perhaps overzealous parents when you were being raised, or a grandparent or some relative, even a caregiver. And it's now just wreaking havoc all over social media and causing these poor little girls all kinds of problems and issues and distraught life. There is, a matter of fact, they're showing a lot of little girls who are ending, like 13, 15, 14-year-olds, who are ending up in the place of going and seeing counselors because they're so depressed because they can't be like their favorite influencer. There's been suicide because of this very thing. It is that fraught with smoke and mirrors and just this illusion of what perfectionism is. And a 13-year-old, a 15-year-old, these young kids, they don't understand that it is all this just fakeness. They don't understand that there's filters out there and that people are just making everything look good. And then, a year later or 18 months later, you hear about this influencer's perfect life crumbling and the divorce and the kids and the this and the that. And it's just a big mess. And it's a big mess because perfectionism takes down the people around it, using it as a lifestyle. So we don't want that in our lives, do we? It's one thing to say perfect all the time. After all, it could be perfect to you if we're going to be using the definition of something you're doing to have or desire that has the required elements, qualities, or characteristics, right? That could be perfect in your eyes. Perfectionism, then, of course, is truly different, and that's the perfectionistic tendencies that we banty around so much. And I'm going to just say this: perfectionism, point blank, robs us all blind of the very thing that we want more than anything, more than perfect, and that's a vibrant life. It robs us of that because nothing can ever measure up. So I have a little quiz here for you. How many things did I write down? Y'all, this might be something that you might see yourself in. Can I ask for a vote of confidence here and a vote of honesty? If I say one of these things and you go, oh my gosh, that's me. Can you pinkies up in the comments? Huh? Shall we? You ready to go there? I got 10 things. Now, all of them may apply, one of them may apply, or whatever. It's worth looking at. That's what we do. That's what wise women do. They look at their stuff. They're not afraid of it. They simply want to look. They want to know. They want to have this vibrant life. So therefore, they're not afraid of going to maybe a dark place. You can always turn on the light. Remember that. Our light switches work in my world. Number 1, you expect perfect from everyone. Spouse, children, name that tune. The cashier, the bank, the whatever. By the way, I was on the phone with the bank today for 50 minutes before they hung up on me on hold. I don't expect perfect, but I do expect them to answer their bloody phone, right? Number 2, you procrastinate from fear of failure. So why bother? Didn't Patsy just say that? If I can't be perfect, why try? Yep, you did, Patsy. I saw it. Number 3, you use, this one's going to blow you away, y'all. Okay, now hear me on this one. Hard, okay? You use your reticular activating system in a distorted way. You look for evidence to support your inadequacies, right? By pointing out your flaws and pointing out your mistakes. Here we go. How about this one, right? Someone says to you, "Oh, you look so nice today." "Oh, I just threw my hair up. I had this cruddy sweatshirt on. I didn't do anything." You downplay that compliment. Yep, here comes the pinkies. I knew this one would get you. This one got me. And I thought, my goodness, if I'm going to use my reticular activating system like that, then I am supporting exactly the thing I don't want. Mm, Think about that one. Just think that's so good. How about this one? All or nothing thinking. Anyone? It's black, it's white, there's no gray. It's good or it's bad. And we do this quite a bit. And hear me on this one, because this is how we can unglue ourselves from this trap, right? Instead of saying, "Oh, she's so mean," say instead, "Yeah, she's mean sometimes." Because nobody is pure evil incarnate unless you're, Putin, excuse me, but there you go. I do have there's a few people, maybe, but the rest of us normal, everyday knock around folks, no. Occasionally, have you been a little mean? Maybe a little harsh or a little rough? Does that mean that's who you are? Is that how we label the other people, though? That's harsh. Harsh, harsh, harsh. Number 5, y'all. Okay, I'm putting my pinkies up because I have done this. Not with this one, not with this example, but I'm just going to hold them up. One cookie ruins your hot milk sprint or diet or whatever it is that you're doing. So you decide you're going to eat the whole bag. It's ruined anyway. Anyone? Perfectionism, y'all. Perfectionism. Well, there's just that, crazy, crazy, crazy. Now, I haven't done this with cookies, but I have done it with chocolate. An entire bar and I don't buy little bars. I buy the big ones, of course. An entire bag of something. Yeah, that's it. If you can't do it right, don't do it at all. Give me the whole damn thing. It's like a feedback to a big old horse. Number 6, you do it because insert name here, they can't do it right. Oh my gosh, that's me. Mark, did anyone have a husband who loads the dishwasher in just such a way you open it up and it just makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up? That's perfectionism. I own it, man. I'm telling you, I own that one 100% across the board. But honestly, you gotta do it right. So how about this one? Number 7. You can't meet your own ridiculously high standards, and either can anyone else. Is this one freaking you out? Has anyone done that? Set those kind of high standards and no one can meet you, it's never good enough. Never good enough. And number 8 is everything is good except one little thing. And guess what you focus on? Guess what you focus on? The one little thing. This is why I put myself out of customer service business early on in the game, because I could get 100 emails saying, "Thank you, this was the best thing ever." This is right when we started Menu Mailer Up way back 21 years ago. And I was on euphoria because it was a lot of work and I was building the boat as we sailed, so to speak, or plane as we flew, whatever. One person would send me some kind of negative feedback and I would get defensive. I would get angry. I'd have tears. One person. But perfectionists focus on the one thing. Not all the rest of the stuff that's right. The one thing. I mean, I've done that before, getting dressed up to go somewhere. I remember I couldn't find I had these particular earrings for this whole outfit. It was a black tie thing, but I was distraught. I was ruined because I didn't have the stupid earrings. Can you believe that? Dumb stuff like that. Number 9, you sacrifice your own self-care to make something perfect. True story. I used to do this. I do not do it anymore, but I would stay up till like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning after we moved into a house to unpack the kitchen, to get the things done, to even hang up damn stuff on the walls. Everybody's asleep, but I'm up there. I'm doing it because I want it done. I want it perfect. That's crazy. And then what happens? You just drag yourself around like you're dead for 3 days afterwards. The zombie apocalypse of moving. I can't tell you how many times I've done that. No longer. No longer. As a matter of fact, this took me the longest to move into this house, because I'm not a perfectionist anymore. I'm a recovering perfectionist for sure. But staying up to 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, destroying yourself so it could be perfect when you woke up, that's nuts. That is nuts. How about this one? Number 10, you are highly critical of others and yourself, and you point out those mistakes. Ooh. We see this. I mean, we do it. Goodness gracious. We do this. We do this when we're watching television, watching the news, or watching the State of the Union last night, right? There was some of that going on. But we sit there and we go through and criticize. And it's not perfect. But that's what we do. We are able to point those mistakes out so quickly. And then on ourselves, people around us, even our dogs. Even our dogs. Mark got mad at Lincoln. He's not fixed. He's a year old. He's not fixed. And he's starting to get interested in sniffing the air and whatever, because I think, of a certain age and all of that. Just for the record, we are going to get him fixed. Just not until we really want to wait till he's 2 years old, because it's better for a large dog to be fully developed before they, it's better for their hips and all of that. Lincoln's not coming anymore like he used to. We used to say, Lincoln, come, just Johnny on the spot, run. Well, Mark gets mad at him. And he's like, I'm not playing with the dog because he blah, blah, blah. And I said, you are acting like a 4-year-old. And because he spoiled your, teddy bear or something like that. He's a dog. We can't expect perfect from a dog. Fortunately, we're going to be going skiing next month for a few days, and also helping Mark's daughter, Leah, with a project in her new house that she just bought. And so Lincoln's going to go to a little boot camp for doggies and get his obedience training on. But, we can't expect perfectionism, perfect from anyone, any stranger, or even your dog. We can't expect it. We just simply can't expect it. So what do we do to stop these perfectionistic tendencies? It's one thing to say, oh, perfect or whatever. And I think if we acknowledge perfect as exactly what I was looking for, thank you so much. I mean, I oftentimes will say, perfect, thank you, to Jenny or to Amber or Lindsay for something. And it's not that they have done things absolutely perfect, but they've done things perfectly for, using our definition. But perfectionism is another thing entirely. It's the difference between jet fuel and gasoline. Really, it is. So we have to know how to stop this stuff, especially if you pinkied up on half those things, And my perfectionistic tendencies, I was like, oh, everybody's leaving. Nobody wants to sit around and hang out with a screen that goes dark. What's wrong with this internet? Why can't it be perfect? I don't know what it is. So let's start with what we need to do with this. And let me see what I've got. I've got 5 things. 5 things. For the 10, this is good. Half the battle here. Number 1, is you oh, sorry about that. You acknowledge it. Can we just say, hello, my name is Leanne and I'm a perfectionist. I hope to God I'm a recovering perfectionist, but I am a perfectionist. I own it. There are perfectionistic tendencies in my life, especially when it comes to the dishwasher, y'all. Just gonna say it. When you're aware, though, you can shift your focus. And my thing is when I look at that dishwasher and I do load it up correctly. By the way, I do. But you know what I do also? I also bless Mark in my head because John Gottman, I think it was, who said that it's when we start to disdain our partners, that's when there's a division in our relationship. I'm not going to disdain Mark. I love him. I adore that man. He is the most supportive, incredible human being on the planet. He just doesn't do a dishwasher justice. So as I do it, I'm thinking to myself, I love him. I appreciate him. Look what he just did with the garage. Look how he's doing this. Look how he takes Lincoln out for his walks and does his obedience stuff. Look how he does all these things. So for that one thing that I don't like, I concentrate even as I am redoing the dishwasher, because I'm not going to stop myself from redoing it. It's got to be done right. That, to me, it makes up for this perfectionistic tendency. There you are. Good for you, Lisa. Number 2 is to seek to understand. Remember that in, what was this Covey's book? 7 Habits of Successful People. Number 5 was to seek to understand it first and then to be understood. This is true. And we have to look at this. Why are we doing this? What's driving that tendency? Well, I will tell you, my tendency for the dishwasher is I want the stuff to get clean and I want to have room to put all the stuff because, in my opinion, nothing is sacred enough to not go in the dishwasher. Everything goes in the dishwasher. Our wine glasses go in the dishwasher. Everything. I don't have precious things that can't go in the dishwasher. So if we have, if stuff is just spread out willy-nilly and I can condense it down into the way that I do it, it's going to happen, y'all. It's going to happen. So that's why I do this. I seek to understand what's driving this. I want to be able to put more stuff in the dishwasher. That's what's driving it. And I want it clean. So, but with other things less important, things that are much more important, I should say, things that like nagging, criticizing, and being hypercritical and just not having a pleasant word to say about anyone because they're not living up to your perfectionistic, ridiculously high standards. You got to look at it. What is driving that? Because it's affecting your psyche, your relationships, your productivity, and it's going to cost you your health and your mental health. And number 4, enough is enough. Knowing that you are enough. Oh, thank you, Catherine. Knowing that you are enough is in all of your flawed glory is enough. I told you my story about accepting myself. And then I had the platform, the foundation, and the ability to make the changes that I wanted. It was in denying that acceptance because of striving after perfectionism that I couldn't get off base number 1. This is an important thing. Yeah, you can change. You can change the things you don't want and the things that you want different. But you got to start with acceptance, and you got to start knowing that you are enough right now. Right? Number 5 is to allow for failure. Good grief. I'm going to read you a quote from Michael Jordan because I think this is so important. He said this: I've missed 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost 300 games. 26 times I was trusted to make the game-winning shot and I missed. I've failed over and over and over again in my life. And that is why I succeed. So I have to just say this, let's define what it is to be a vibrant woman, a wise woman. Let's define that. because we're all works in progress, and not a single one of us has been given the gift of perfect. Nobody can skip this step of being a flawed human either. It's just part of who you are. It's part of who I am. It's part of how the internet operates. It's how all of it is. We're blessedly able to evolve, however, and we are thrilled that we have room to be able to do that. Having room for improvement, to be able to better oneself and to be able to go to the next level is part of being human and not just being another mammal on the planet, right? So let's put our eyes on the prize. It's vibrancy. It's not perfectionism. It's not doing everything just so. And what happens is when we do this, we start living our lives excellently. And that is what we're looking for. Excellence. Excellence, excellence, excellence. Because, ladies, remember this. We have grit and not quit. So fun.
Thank you for joining me today. You can find me on TikTok for daily tips to help support your most vibrant life. And remember, you are the author of your own story. Until next time.